Lately, a lot of the books that I've been buying are from online booksellers. But my wife and I were taking a trip to Saskatchewan to visit relatives and friends. My wife suggested that we try to stop at some used bookstores along the way. I really appreciate how my wife supports my SF journey here in retirement. So I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And our first stop was Brandon, Manitoba. We stopped at George Strange's Book Mart. There was quite a good selection of science fiction there. I picked up 10 books there. Frederick Brown, Rogue in Space. I haven't read any Frederick Brown yet. I'm looking forward to this one. An author who hails from my hometown of Winnipeg is A.E. Van Vogt. So I've been collecting some of his work. I got 2 books. The first one, The Proxy Intelligence and Other Mindbenders. And take a look at that cover art. Amazing. This other book, The Voyage of the Space Beagle, I believe it was Science Fiction Reads who recommended this book. It's a fix-up novel of the journeys of the Space Beagle, and apparently it was influential in Gene Roddenberry's concept for the original Star Trek series. Next, a classic author that I'm looking forward to reading his books, Ray Bradbury, The October Country. Recently on Death Media Cult with Moyd, he was talking to this author, Robert J. Sawyer, Calculating God, Canadian author. By the way, I'm not sure why it's called Death Media Cult. Perhaps someone can comment below. Next, M. John Harrison, The Centauri Device. I think collectors of SF novels find it hard to pass up some of their favorite authors, even if they own an edition or 2 of that book. John Wyndham, Stowaway to Mars. I do have this in the Modern Library edition that came out recently. I've read 1 novel by this author and was very impressed. Christopher Priest. This is an omnibus edition. It has 2 novels, The Space Machine and A Dream of Essex. Obviously it's had some wear, as you can see that the embossment and the gold print is fading away there. One of my favorite authors, a book that I don't have, Bob Shaw, The Ragged Astronauts. I believe this is the start of a series that was written late in his life. And last, from Brandon, is an SF Masterworks, Philip K. Dick, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? From Brandon, we drove to Regina, Saskatchewan, and visited Centennial Books. There I picked up 7 books. Sometime Never. 3 authors, 3 novellas. William Golding, John Wyndham, and Mervyn Peake. And here are the 3 stories. I like the note to teachers and parents in the front cover saying, "This collection is the most frightening book published in the Bal High series up to now. It is more frightening and powerful than collections of murder, war, and horror stories because its 3 authors, under the guise of exciting science fiction, create 3 specific prophecies which show what is happening to our civilization today." Here's an author that I don't know anything about. I believe Steve, the outlaw bookseller, had talked about Gary Kilworth. This one is called The Knight of Kedar. It's got a very interesting cover. Looks like we have a spaceship here and people coming out of that spaceship. These people have come from it. This is my first book by Damon Knight. Beyond the Barrier. A very short book. Found another M. John Harrison book, The Pastel City. It's got wraparound art as well. It's quite worn, but it's interesting. Part of my collection of the Pan Lausen series, Brian Stableford, Halcyon Drift. And this is number 1 from a series of his called The Adventures of Star Pilot Granger. I often talk about finding John Wyndham novels in my teens and early 20s. There's another author that I remember reading, but I don't remember a lot about the stories. There's a series about spiders. Colin Wilson, Spider World. And this one is called The Tower. I'm curious to see if this holds up to my recollection that this was a good series. And lastly, another Robert J. Sawyer novel, The Oppenheim Alternative. This one is in really good condition. So that was Regina. Next, we went to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. In Saskatoon, we went to Westgate Books. By the way, if you own a used bookstore or sell books online, I think it's really cool to get bookmarks with your information on it. From Westgate Books, I picked up 5 books. I picked up another A.E. Van Vogt book. This one, I believe, is perhaps his most famous book, Slan. I've been watching the Foundation series on Apple TV+. Although I picked up the first novel when I was a teen, at that time I didn't finish it. I thought it was very boring. Due to the TV series and my exploration of the big 3, I thought it was time to give Foundation another chance. And when I've been looking online, there's a certain edition that I really enjoy the cover art for. At Westgate Books, I found Foundation, Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation. I believe that's the order of these 3 novels. I was amazed at the condition of these novels. And my last pickup in Saskatoon, Hal Clement, Heavy Planet. In fact, it has 2 novels in it. It includes Mission of Gravity and Starlight. And our last stop for used bookstores was North Battleford, Saskatchewan. There we went to B-Tech, a place that has an adult day program for special needs people. They have an amazing used bookstore. All the books are donated and all the books are $1 each. That's right, $1 each, whether it's a hardcover or a soft cover. Now they shelve all their books by author's name. Doesn't matter what the genre. So I spent a little bit of time going through the books there. There weren't a lot of SF books. But I did pick up 6 books, $6. Once again, found a John Wyndham novel, couldn't pass it up. Definitely have this in a couple editions, but not with this cover, The Midwich Cuckoos. Found the movie edition of Carl Sagan's Contact. Now, this science fiction author actually writes in many genres. He also writes very, very big books. Dan Simmons Carrion Comfort. I read this book a long time ago. It's about immortal vampires, horror, intrigue, action, history. Once again, I'll see if this novel holds up to my memory of it. I don't think I'll get to it very soon though, considering it's 880 pages. Found another Robert J. Sawyer. This is part of a 3-book series. Unfortunately, it's book 2, Watch. But I'll just keep it around and see if I can find number 1 and number 3 in the series. This author is definitely a mainstream science fiction novelist. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And lastly, from North Battleford, you saw in Saskatoon that I picked up the Foundation series. Well, this edition of the first novel, Foundation, just was too good to pass up. In fact, I think it might be my reader edition. Well, there you go. Hunting in the Wild for SF. I look forward to stocking my shelves with these books and getting to them sometime. Do you recommend any of the books that I've picked up to read sooner than later? Have you stopped at used bookstores on your road trips? Please like, subscribe, and comment. I love continuing the conversation further in the comments. If you're curious about my book recommendations so far this year, I do YouTube shorts about each of the books that I recommend. You can find them on my channel page. Until next time, keep reading.